with Nicole Hansen, a certified nutritionist. And if you want to reach out to me, you can get me at stevemain.com. Leave comments, suggestions, questions in the comment section. Share this video if you think it's beneficial. We're going to talk about something that's interesting to me, and I'll just kind of relate it to my whole career being in health and wellness and fitness and so on. Nicole is in our studio at the Fitness for 10 in Carson City, Nevada. Thanks for being with us, Nicole.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if you have questions for Nicole, just put them in that comment section. I really appreciate her knowledge. So she's a wealth of information. Matter of fact, I was picking her brain before we got on here, some stuff for my wife, so very cool.
Happy to help.
So omega-6, I've read on, I won't name names, but medical websites that are very well known and prestigious saying to take saturated fats out and eat more omega-6. Now, before I have you explain this, I just want to give a little kind of testimony of what I've been thinking and realizing why. I talked to one of my partners who's my age, and I said, remember when we were in grade school, there were no fat kids. I mean, there was maybe one or two, and those two kids had some type of a medical issue or problem, and those two fat kids in fourth grade would be the skinny kids now. They'd be the skinny ones. Seriously. So I've been thinking a lot, and I'm not saying sugar is good, but I think there's more to it on why people who were those skinny little kids are now 50 pounds overweight or more, where they weren't when they were kids. But now the kids are fat and everyone's getting fatter and fatter and fatter. So I started thinking about what are the difference. And I started thinking about how much sugar I ate when I was a kid. And yeah, my mom made homemade bread, and everything was a financial reason why she made homemade bread or the way that we ate. But I ate and drank more sugar, at least as much, and probably 3 or 4 times more than the kids do today, because I realized, what did I drink? I drank soda loaded with sugar, and we drank Kool-Aid. And my mom would put cupfuls and cupfuls of sugar in that Kool-Aid. And then you fill it up in the faucet,
Mm-hmm.
And so how come I wasn't a fat little kid? I mean, we talked about, we're more active. We don't have phones and all that. I mean, if we were going to sit inside, all you could do back then in the olden days was look at the wall. But it's not just sugar. That's why I started doing a little research on these omega-6s / linoleic acid. Can I call it poison?
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so you guys, off that sentence, I want to read you something that just struck such home with me that I went, okay, hold the phone. Here's our smoking gun for me, because like you, Steve, I don't put sugar in my diet, and I'm very careful with it. However, I ate just like that as a child. I was, we did rodeo and we were constantly eating out, that kind of stuff. And I was a very fit child. But then I ran across this statement and I thought, linoleic acid used to be labeled toxic waste, garbage in 1860. Was then fertilizer in 1870, cattle feed in 1880, and now in 1890, we went from 0% in our foods to 32% in our foods.
That was 1890?
That was 1890. They used to clean guns with it. Now it's on our tables, and it's in every single processed food. I challenge people to go to a grocery store turn over a bag of food and see that there's not one of these oils that I'll list off in every processed food. It's rampant because they were using it to get more mass foods out to people because of the times. It became very useful in putting it in our foods. And especially in the Great Depression, it became useful to get people fed. But we then started to becoming sick, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Where we used to make our foods, our parents used to make our foods, now people are buying all the boxed and bagged products, and it's in everything. So here is linoleic acids are polyunsaturated omega-6 fatty acids. They will travel through the triglycerides rather than as a free fatty acid. So, you guys, this travels through our bloodstream. This is where we get high cholesterol from. This is where we get buildup in our plaque arteries. This is very controversial out there if you see it on the web. You can pull up one page where it's just touting how great it is, and then you can pull up the next page. But I went to school, and this was a big topic when we were in school, and they gave us the science behind this. And I will tell you, I was, this kind of gets deep into this, but when I was first diagnosed with thyroid problems, I did a deep dive into all of these kinds of things. And one of the things that I cut out was linoleic acids. They're called PUFAs out in the world. I took those out of my diet and started looking at everything. It was hard to eat. You had to go to Whole Foods at this point.
Yep.
Which then made me feel 10 times better. I didn't have a doctor supporting my thyroid condition. I was finding that out. So when I started to take these things out of my diet and I started to get a little more energy, I was like, what is the smoking gun here? It's the linoleic acids. I can process sugar through my system because I have muscle mass. I have the things that I can require to bring those rates out of my system. But linoleic acid, one serving in it can stay in the body up to 2 years.
That's a half-life, I think.
That's a half-life.
Yeah, so now you're looking at
crazy.
That's 7 years to completely get rid of it. 2 years for the half-life.
And that's a serving. That's not just I'm going to double my plate, which we all know happens more often than not. So now total those numbers up. That's crazy. So here's some things that it does to the body, you guys. And here's a big one for all of us who don't want to age quickly. It increases the oxidative stress in the body, causing premature aging. You guys, we're all running around overweight, and now we're going to look overweight and 10 to 20 years older. No,
and
thank
poisoned,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. It weakens the immune system. Okay, now we're building on ourselves. So we're overweight. We have a bunch of free radicals floating around in the body. We have half-lives of 2 years in one serving. Now we have a weakened immune system. We're just building on the system and breaking it down. So it slows wound healing. So if you burn yourself on the stove and you have a ton of these omega-6s in the body, that's going to take twice as long to heal. You have weight gain, anxiety, mood disorders, migraines. If you suffer from migraines, the first thing I do with my clients is I take linoleic acids out of the system. I've had calls within 2 weeks going, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. You took that out of your diet and look at what's happened. It's amazing what these things will do once they're out of the system. Saturated fats have been villainized and they don't need to be. Saturated fats are wonderful things.
Yeah, and the villain is, and I want to get into, keep going, but I want to get into the monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, and saturated fat. What we're talking about here, omega-6, linoleic acid, is a type of polyunsaturated fat.
Mm-hmm.
It is an essential nutrient, but it's all out of whack. There's omega-6, but we need the omega-3s to bring that up into the right ratio. So when you're done with that, let's kind of get into the 3 different types of fat. And the villain is the omega-6, even though it's essential. And it's a type of polyunsaturated fat. It's not saturated fat. The monounsaturated fat is also good.
So you guys, polyunsaturated fats we can get from our diets, from our leafy green vegetables. And this is the scary part about this. When I really did a deep dive into this and why they're bad for the system, so you're taking a plant and you're calling it vegetable oil, which literally once they have processed it through, they have now broken it down and made it rancid going into the body. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to put rancid anything in my body.
I don't want to drink motor oil either.
No, I don't want to drink something that's useful in cleaning guns. Like, come on, you guys, you gotta get all this kind of stuff out of the body. But so when you're get it in your body in a whole food way, because it's not broken down, it's naturally in the system, and it's doing what it's supposed to do as an omega-6. It's not coming into the body as a rancid omega-6. You can get plenty of it that way. And saturated fats, that's a whole villainized subject that, we went into this whole era where we were thinking that all saturated fats were giving people heart attacks. Really, if you remember what I said from the very beginning, polyunsaturated fats are going into the system and traveling as a triglyceride into your bloodstream. So when you look at your cholesterol, there's your answer. We have too much of this in our system. They actually did several studies, and you can read them on PubMed, where the saturated fats were not villainized. They're very useful for the system, and we can tap into things like ketones, and it's good for the blood-brain barrier, and it helps us be more focused. Rancid oils are not doing that for us.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, let's really simplify this and say, okay, here's where the worst of the worst is. It's in vegetable oils. Yes. Canola oil, sorry.
Yes.
Maybe I'll get sued. Canola oil, grapeseed oil.
Yes, it is.
Any type of vegetable oil that we thought and have been taught is good. Okay, so how do we get the omega-3s? Fish oil is something that you can take. Fatty fish, cod liver oil, that's where your omega-3s are. And is this right? I mean, as those omega-3s come up and become a better ratio, it helps to counteract those omega-6s, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love... I'm very cautious of where I get my fish oils from, because you want to make sure that they are not cut with a vegetable oil. Because
high quality.
Now you're high quality, and now you're counteracting what you've just spent all this time doing. The other one that I want to really make sure we know, safflower and sunflower oil, because it's in everything nowadays. First of all, you guys, men and women, soybean oil that is in just about everything.
It's the worst.
It's the worst, and it is everywhere. Make sure which is a good oil, olive oil, sometimes if you get the cheaper brands, they are cut with a soybean oil. So you want to look at your ingredients. Here's the smoking gun with the soybean oils. Those particular oils specifically will raise women and men's estrogen levels. So now we've thrown off our sex hormones, which I don't know about you, but going through perimenopause, I do not want any more trouble with my hormones.
Right.
So I don't need any, linoleic acids doing that for me.
Yeah, it's knocking everything out of whack. And people, calories in, calories out. Well, you can calorie in, calorie out till you're blue in the face. If your hormones
Yep,
are off, you can eat 1,000 calories and get fat. Because your
exactly.
body's not working right. You're not putting the right foods in it. So
Yep.
this is just a great topic. And just to simplify it again, get the omega-6. Olive oil is good, but I'm a
Yes.
food Nazi. I'm a food Nazi. And you know what? You just can't go grab olive oil off the shelf. Yes, it's going to cost 3 times more. But that's the first thing I would do if I'm looking at olive oil, because olive oil is amazing. I take
Yes.
teaspoons and sometimes tablespoons of it every day of olive oil.
So do I.
It's a monounsaturated fat. It's amazing what
Hmm.
it does for you. MCT oil, a medium chain triglyceride, also amazing. Elevate your HDLs, lower your triglycerides, lower your cholesterol.
Absolutely.
That's a saturated fat that does that.
Yep.
So when you go to grab that olive oil off the shelf, the first thing, I don't even look at the cheapest one because I'm going to assume that it's not good. I'll look at the most expensive two olive oils and then check them out. There's certain brands that I trust, but um, that's where you start. And yeah, it's hard with the inflation and the things going on. But it's expensive to be healthy. You and I have talked about that. You want to pay now or you want to pay later?
It's expensive to be unhealthy. You're going to spend it in doctor bills. Spend it on your food and the products you're putting in your body. I look at what I eat and what I put in my body as fuel. It's making a well-oiled machine better. So, and avocado oil, you guys, is a great one to cook with. It's a saturated fat. It's amazing. Grass-fed butter, amazing. Ghee. And Steve, just like you do, I take teaspoons of olive oil. It's a great pain reliever.
Hmm.
It cuts down inflammation and helps with pain in the body.
Yeah, coconut oil, great to cook
Oh, yeah.
in. Lard. You
Hmm.
said ghee is really good. And it's a lot of restaurants are cooking with this soybean oil now. It's bad.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Cook mine in butter, please. But you said not coconut oil, avocado oil. I drink that right out of the bottle.
Yep. Yeah. If I haven't gotten enough fat in my system in the day, I will take a shot of avocado oil or coconut oil. I put coconut oil in my shakes all the time.
Yeah, and it's just amazing when you learn. So you guys have questions for Nicole? Put them in the comment section, um, and we can figure out how to connect you to her. If you need more help with this, but it's some simple things that you can really do that aren't restrictive in just changing your diet and still enjoying what you eat. I mean, we live in America. Food is social. We go to parties, but you can make a few mild adjustments and be shocked at what it can do for your health and your physique or your figure. So, um, thanks, Nicole. Really appreciate the input.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, so we will see you all next time. Like and subscribe, and pass this on if you think it will help other people. Thanks again for being with us, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.